weird with this visor on. What's up, guys? We're gonna be talking about motorcycle group riding and some of the etiquette, some of the things you need to know, some of the tips, some of the plans, some of the ideas. So if you're about to go on a group ride and you have no idea what you're doing, you're in the right place right now. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So welcome to the Dan the Fireman channel. Here we talk about motorcycles and safety and a bunch of other cool things like that. Plus I talk about mental health and a few other things. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into some motorcycle group riding tips. And let's get you ready for your first one, or let's get you more experienced in your next one or something like that. I don't know, whatever. So in order to do a safe group ride, you really need to have a pre-ride meeting. Now, usually a pre-ride meeting happens about 30 minutes to 20 minutes to 15 minutes before the actual ride. Usually everybody gets there prior to that. You know, there's usually a, let's meet up here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Kickstands are up at 9 in the morning. So that means you guys have an hour to get there, and then they usually have a pre-ride meeting about 5 to 15 minutes before that. Usually they will tell you exactly where to go. This is one of those things that it's really good to have an organization and a good ride group leader to let you know where you need to go and everything. And they usually have a map or destinations or how long it's gonna take, you know, where you're gonna stop at. All these different things will be discussed during the pre-ride meeting. During the pre-ride meeting, you will be told how to ride, either in staggered, single file, whatever. You're gonna be told the rules. If there's a red light, you know, to stop or to keep going. If it's a right-hand turn, we'll have somebody, you know, blocking traffic. All these different little things are what gonna be discussed during the pre-ride meeting. Phone numbers might be passed around just in case you have to pull over and stop and go somewhere else, so nobody's worried about you and all that. That's very important, and that is something that is discussed during the pre-ride meeting. Now, the next thing is when, during the pre-ride meeting, they're gonna be deciding the ride order. So when you decide the ride order, or when they decide it, because they're the ride leader, or if you decide you're the ride leader, discuss the riding order. Now, usually you have somebody right up front. That is the ride leader, the person way up front, the riding captain, the person that is taking care of the actual where you're going. In the back, there's usually a tail leader, like somebody that is in the back to make sure that there's no stragglers, and if there is any stragglers, that they are well taken care of. That person knows the route just like the ride captain or ride leader. That person knows the route, and they will know exactly where to go. So deciding the riding order in that way. Also the staggered formation or whatnot. Hey, we got a cop here. I wonder if it's the same guy from last time. No, it's not. So the riding order is very important. I just wanted to pull over here because this is where I do my training. So deciding the riding order is very important when it comes to making sure that everybody knows what they're doing and you have somebody in front and back. If you don't have anybody in back, whoever's in back, try to take up that role. The riding order is very important when it comes to experienced and not experienced riders. Experienced riders usually should stay in the back. The most experienced rider, or the one that knows what's going on, is the trail or the riding captain or riding leader up front, but the person right behind that person should be the least experienced. And the reason why I say that is because the least experienced will try to keep up with experienced riders, and you're not going to be able to do that. If you're in the back and you're least experienced and you start falling behind, there's a good chance you're going to be panicking because you're not going to be able to keep up. So that is why you need to be up front. You set the pace. That is why when Nikki rides with me, she sets the pace, and I just ride whatever speed she's going, whatever thing she's doing, and that way she doesn't have to keep up with me if I'm up in front. The next thing is supplies, and I talked about this during my live stream, so if you guys ever want to see live streams and me talk about this kind of stuff beforehand, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell button, because I do live streams on this. But what I talked about with supplies is that I have a medical kit. I keep a medical kit in my saddlebags. I keep a medical kit either in this backpack or the saddlebags. I also keep tools. Tools are very important because if something happens on the ride and someone breaks down, or something happens to somebody that is it's a bigger issue, you'll have the tools needed for doing that. Now, don't bring a whole toolbox. A whole toolbox can be kind of detrimental and heavy, and especially on a big long ride, if you have it in the backpack, it's going to hurt your back. So what you want to do is just have a few set tools that you normally use on your bike. You know, set of Allen wrenches, crescent wrenches, maybe a screwdriver, Phillips, flathead, whatever it is, and that's it. It's really all you need to do. Something that's a little bit multi-use. If you don't need to use it, chances are somebody else might need it. I was able to, well, not me, Road Wrangler, I was able to fix a problem on Nikki's bike when we were out riding, practicing in a parking lot just like this, and I didn't have my tools, but he did, and he was able to save the day. So that is very important. It comes in handy. You never know when you're going to need it. The medical supplies is something that's very important too, just in case somebody crashes. So just in case somebody, something happens. You can get a very nice medical kit. The one I have, I'll have a link in the description to that. And it's very basic. You really just need to have some 5x9s and 4x4s, which is just like big bandages, just in case somebody crashes. And I actually talk about in a video that if somebody crashes, what to do. Definitely check that out. Link will also be in the description for that. And it's very important to have that information beforehand, because if somebody crashes or something happens, you're gonna freak out. But if you're prepared, you should be good. So we talk about riding formation. The usual thing is staggered formation. Usually you stagger, and what that is that there's, so here's person on the right, or I don't know how you're looking at it on the screen, but here's this person. So staggered is like this, okay? So the person right here and here, the distance is 1 second. The person right here and here is 2 seconds. And what that does is it allows you to keep your own lane. So if I have to swerve left or right, depending on whatever position I'm in, I have that room because I have a second gap between the person in front of me and behind me. The nearest person in front of me and behind me, the person right directly in front of me is 2 seconds. So if I see them swerve out of the way of something in the road, that gives me 2 seconds to swerve out of the way. Once again, you are going to want to look at least 4 to 12 seconds ahead if you possibly can, but this will give you enough room to move. Now, I don't like riding in police formation or 2-up, basically, where you're side by side, because now you don't have any room to, swerve. So somebody's gonna have to accelerate to go around and whatnot. That's kind of a dangerous move. Single file is okay. The problem with that is that now you have a long line, and that could be an issue with other cars wanting to merge with you. And that's another thing, is that when you're in staggered formation, you really want to maintain that 1 second and 2 second, because if you start spreading apart, a car can come in, and if they're wanting to turn right and merge or do something, they can break up your formation, and they could slow down, and they're not going the same speed as the group. It can cause issues, they can cause accidents, so that's why you kind of stay close but not super close, just enough to where a car can't come in. And when I talk about if a car comes in or if something happens to where you start falling behind and you get separated, being separated is not a good thing. It's no bueno, but it can be a good thing. But if you get separated, don't worry, don't panic, don't try to race and get up to the front. Becoming separated is not a big deal, especially if you did a pre-ride meeting. The pre-ride meeting should have a spot where every so often you'll stop and say, this is where we're going to meet up, and we're going to sit here for about 30 minutes, and we're going to go to the next spot. Usually it's at gas stations, so everybody can fill up. So if you fall behind about 20-30 minutes or whatever it is, you can meet up at that spot and still catch up to everybody. If you get separated because you want to get separated, let's say the group ride is a little too anxiety inducing, don't worry about it. That's where during the pre-ride meeting, it's good to have the ride captain or the ride leader's phone number. Send him a text, send her a text, whatever it is, and say, hey, I popped out, something happened, I got to do something, or whatever. Come up with an excuse. I blame my kids on everything. I'll say I got to go home and get the kids. So just tell them that, and you can go home. It's not a big deal if it's too much. If something happens to where you have mechanical failure, you can send him a text or send her a text, say, hey, mechanical failure, I had to pull off. I'm in this parking lot, I'm taking care of it. It's not a big deal. Keep going, have fun. Or ask for help. That's the thing, because somebody can turn around and come back and help you out if you need it. Riding in a group is pretty it's pretty hectic. It's pretty strange. It's something that I personally don't do all the time because I get that anxiety-inducing thing, and I actually prefer to ride alone. But riding together is really good. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to get more experience. Like I said, if you're a beginner rider, if you go up to a group ride and you talk to more experienced riders, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get some more experience, especially if they are a good group of people. And that's what we have here at the DDFM crew. We have a good group of people. We have a whole huge Discord channel. It's basically it's a free chat channel. It's a free chat channel. So all the comments you guys are writing in the comment section down below, think of it as that, but it's free. We have 1,000 people roughly, and we all have fun, and we talk about riding together, and we have our own little Arizona chapter here to where we're riding around, having fun, and doing some fun things. And I keep saying fun, fun, fun. So I just wanted to talk to you about that, and I hope you guys got some information. But if you have any other tips that I might have forgotten, please write it in the comments. Subscribe and become a patron. That's it. I'll see you guys later.